In just a second, I'm going to be introducing author Elise Sax, and we're going to be talking about this book right here, How to Marry Another Billionaire. Oh my gosh, guys, this book is so funny. Laugh out loud funny. I love her. I haven't ever talked to her. This is the first time I'm going to talk to her, and I already know I love her. So that's how great this book is. I can just tell who she is. It's amazing. I need more funny books in my life, and so do you. So we need to read more because we read too many serious books, like one a week, right? Just to lighten it up a little bit. So I cannot wait to talk to her. Everybody, here is Elise.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited today because I am speaking with author Elise Sax, and we are going to be talking about her book called How to Marry Another Billionaire, which is book 2 in the series. It came out at the end of December. And you know what, Elise? I was thinking today when I was finishing this book, I was like, I didn't know it, but I needed you in my life. And now here you are. So
see how that works?
I am so happy that I found your book and found you because it is Friday, and I got to laugh from last night and all the way through this morning, and I just needed this. Why don't we read funny books more? We need to read funny books more.
This is my question, and I feel that it should be required that everyone read my books, but no one believes me. So, but we'll spread that rumor. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to spread that rumor because, I read a lot of books, and I have to say, probably only 5% of the books I read make me laugh. Okay, that is not right. I should be laughing more when I'm reading, right?
Yes, I absolutely think that, yes. And when I write a book, I think, I didn't make them laugh in this past chapter. I got to do something to make my readers laugh.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You are hysterical.
Thank you.
I love your writing. And yeah, it's I'm all about a serious book, but I need to balance it out more in my life. Okay. That's all. It's I can read a good thriller and be scared and, whatever, but I need at least one a week now that is going to make me laugh out loud because that's what this book did. And you know what, for everybody out there who didn't read book 1, I am going back to it because I know book 3 is coming. So I got to go read book 1, but these are standalones. These are not you don't have to read them in certain order. You did it in such a way that I already knew what was going. I didn't feel lost in any way.
Oh, good.
Which is always good. And yet it wasn't too much I didn't read it yet, but I didn't feel like you were throwing up the first book. You know what I mean? You didn't have to say too much about it and go into too much detail so that the first book will be still so much fun to read. So the idea. Let's start with this idea because I love this idea for a series.
Well,
because, it used to be Millionaire. This is Billionaire.
Right,
so.
Exactly. All right, because if you saw that there's a classic movie with Marilyn Monroe and Lauren Bacall, and it's called How to Marry a Millionaire, and I'm a movie fanatic. If you've read my mysteries, all the titles are taken from famous movie titles, and so Citizen Kane becomes Citizen Payne, that sort of thing. The Wizard of Oz became the Wizard of Saws, that sort of thing. So I love movies. I could not live without Turner Classic Movies channel. And one day I was watching How to Marry a Millionaire for the millionth time, and I thought, this is such a brilliant idea. But nowadays, who the hell wants a millionaire? We need a billionaire, right? All these billionaire books. And we want billionaires who have no body fat, who are absolutely gorgeous, and have tons of free time to just woo some woman. And if you know anything about my books, usually the underlying commonality amongst my books is that it's usually about a woman who is having a nervous breakdown or has reached bottom and life is just really kicking them, and they have to find a way to overcome and to become empowered, even though I don't really like the word empowered, but that's what it is. And so in this, we have 3 women who don't know each other, and they're different women, and they come together all at a very low point in their lives. And for some reason, even in their feminist makeup, they feel that that marrying a billionaire is going to solve their problems. That's the key to happiness. So all three of them are going to, embark on that journey. And the first one, we started off to marry a guy who owns Idaho, and the second one who owns I don't know what other state, and the third one is going to be a huge adventure. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it's so hysterical. Like the first line in the book is, "I'm married to a billionaire." And I was like, I started laughing right then because I thought it was like, I don't know, because our definition of, I'm a single mom too, okay, for the second time in my life. I have 6 children. So I think it's really funny when you say women who have hit bottom. Like, I've done that a couple times. I can't even name one time because I've done it a couple of times. Mm-hmm. But, like, we're not supposed to, like, define ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, and I've done that. I've defined myself. I've had 2 ex-husbands, and, I've lived by their definition. But what I love is that, first of all, you don't personally, because you're out there writing books for a living. Like, you are your own person. But then the first line of this book is like, "I'm married to a billionaire." Like, that's my tagline.
Well, if I was married to a billionaire, it'd probably be my tagline too.
That's true. But it's like, it's so, oh my gosh, she was hysterical. I kept, it's really funny because I kept, like, as I'm reading the book yesterday, whoever was near me, any one of my given children at the time, I'm like, I would read one of your lines and, I'd be like, "Listen to this." And then they're looking at me like, I don't even get it. I'm not reading the book. I'm like, okay, this is funny. Okay, this is funny.
I think it's genius. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I love how you made them like so real. I don't like reading erotic books. Like, that's not my thing, right? Mm-hmm. But what I love how you did is like this is how I talk to my friends, right? Mm-hmm. When no one's around. You have them talk like I do, but not in front of people. I love that. It was like, I'd never read anything like that. I'm like, yes, Elise, this is how we talk. We don't tell anybody we talk like this, but this is how we talk.
Yes. Well, are you talking about internal dialogue or her dialogue with her friends?
Well, both. Okay. Internal dialogue, though, was amazing. Yes, internal dialogue, you're right. There's internal dialogue, and then, which is how we think, and then a dialogue with her friends. I just thought you did an amazing job with both of them.
Thank you. Well, I love female friendships. I mean, mm-hmm. I couldn't get through this life without my friends, and I really feel that there's something special between women, and you could see that through all my books, really, or most of my books. You will find that the heroine of the story will have really good women friends, and so these 3 women, they came together on a park bench. If you read the first one, they just kind of found each other on a park bench and became instant friends. And I really feel that that's a real thing that happens between women. We find each other, and we have, even if we're very different and we have different philosophies and political leanings or whatever it is, there is something about being a woman that only women can understand, and it brings us together, and we have these incredible friendships. And I like to have that in my books. So in the first one, it's actually probably more about the women's friendship than about the romance. I kept having to remind myself, oh no, wait a minute, her goal is the man. Yes, okay. So so by the second one, they're really a unit, And then, but I love to torture them. So nothing is easy, and they have to be really tortured to get to their happy ending. But I do get the happy ending.
Oh, right. But I do love that you say inner dialogue, because you do tap into her inner, like on her first date.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, not even the first date, when she's taking her the plane and she's in her Spanx, and just
right.
The inner dialogue that was going on there. Like I was at my daughter's wedding and I had on Spanx, right? And
Yes.
that same thing happened to me. I had bent over. I'd done something, like, it was the first time I ever wore them, first of all. So I didn't understand. But people are like, all my friends are like, no, get Spanx. You'll be happy. You'll be happy. They'll look better in the pictures. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And so something happened, like I bent over and somebody took my picture when I stood up and it
Yes.
rolled. Like I didn't understand the roll thing.
Yes. 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 They don't tell you that. No one warns you about that. Yes.
And it's a thing. It's a real thing, people.
Yes.
You don't know that. It's a real thing.
Yes. Everything in this book could happen. Yes. Actually, I do a thing. I used to be a journalist, so I collect weird news stories, and I have a huge, very thick folder of weird news stories that I've collected. And so in my book, some of the crazy, crazy things that I put in there that people say, well, that's not realistic. Yeah, actually, it's inspired by true events. So, so a lot of those things that happen.
Nothing
Yes.
is funnier than a true event. Okay.
Yes, it's true. Yes. There's this, and I have to give a shout out to a cousin of mine who was just in Thailand on vacation with her husband, and her sister and I were Skyping with her, saying, how's it going? And she said, it's great, except that so-and-so, her husband, was scared of swimming because he thought starfish could bite him. And I said, oh, my God, I'm using that. That is perfect.
That's perfect.
And it does. It shows up in the book, I mean, if you think, how stupid. He thinks a starfish could bite him. Yeah, well, it's based on a true event. So, yeah, I try to incorporate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that, from what I've read, like when journalists are funny people for the most part, and you're so used to listening to dialogue from like that was your job, right?
Yes.
I mean, so you're like very tuned in, like at the grocery store. I'm sure like you are so tuned in at the grocery store to people's conversations, and and you can always work something into a book, right?
Well, the weird thing about me, I have this weird thing that wherever I go, people talk to me. And it doesn't matter wherever I am in the world, people will stop me and ask me for directions. And I don't know what it is. I'm like this, I must look safe or something. I don't know. But I have never, ever been to Costco without having a complete conversation with a stranger. And sometimes I'll get to the checkout line, and I think, wow, oh my gosh, I almost made it through Costco and no one has stopped me to talk to me. No, in the line, I will, before I pay that money, someone is going to stop me and talk to me. So, which I love. I'll talk to anybody. I love that. And so, yes, I do that all the time. I talk to all kinds of people, and I've heard their wonderful stories. And every single person has got a great story.
Right. I have to tell you, like when I've been at one of my bottoms, okay, after a divorce, and I was alone, alone, like probably felt more alone than I actually was, but I felt very alone. So what I would do every day at like 3:00 is I'd force myself to get dressed and go to the grocery store, and I started to know the clerks at the like I'd know the people, and then just any conversation I'd have with them like was like the highlight of my day. Like it got me through to another day. So just being around people, I shouldn't even say just the clerks, but just being in the grocery store. It's amazing what a grocery store can do for depression. Like you go there, you're kind of forced to being around people. You had to get dressed. You may not have makeup on, doesn't matter, but and then I would end up having, I'd get to know the clerks and I'd start talking to them, and it's crazy, but it's a big world out there, and you can do that. Like you can, just talking to somebody can lift your spirits.
Oh, absolutely. And I think right now, it's very hard. I hate texting and messaging, and I just feel like it's the downfall to society. And I beg people, just call me or let me call you. And you kind of, nowadays you have to make an appointment to talk to somebody on the phone. And I just think it's very, very isolating. And I hear from women my age, I'm 50 years old. I hear from a lot of women who are around my age who are lonely, And
Right.
so I don't know what this really has to do with my books, but no one seems to be lonely in my books. They're talking a lot. But yeah, I really do feel that friendships and talking and
Yeah.
meeting with people and having that one-on-one with people is so important for us and to make us happy. Absolutely. So yes, I do listen to what people say. I do love, I love characters. I love, people's journeys and how they get there and the different people's thinking, because everyone kind of thinks differently, and I enjoy all of that. And I try to find the humor in it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and okay, I'm going to give you the last line of the first chapter because, it made me laugh because I have 6 children, okay? So it is, don't say eggs to Olivia, my mother says. You'll stir hers up, and the next thing we know, she's giving birth on the bar stool.
Right.
Because my mom used to always say, are you kidding? Like, I'd have to, be like, Mom, I'm pregnant again. And she'd be like, are you kidding? Like, do you know how to stop this? I'm like, no, I don't. Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Olivia
Olivia
has 4 children, so I really connected with her,
Yeah, 4 children under 5 years old. She has super ovaries. Yes, yes. There is no birth control that can stand up to her super ovaries, so she's very scared about that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom used to always say that to me. We're fertile people. You have to be more careful.
We're fertile people.
Yeah. Like it was a thing, That's why I loved her mom so much too. I thought she was hysterical. So I mean, the whole it's such a funny book, guys. You just have to, like I said, I need one of these books. I need more of these books in my life. And I was so happy last night when I was reading this. I was like talking to you the whole time. I'm like, you are hysterical. Oh my God, you are awesome. Like it was such a blessing to be able to read. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you so much. And the third book I'm so looking forward to, it's called How to Marry the Last Billionaire on Earth, is about Rosalind. It's the oldest of the 3 women. And everything that she thought that was going to happen, that she's planned for, I am going to ruin it for her. And she is going to have an amazing adventure. This is the book I've been just chomping at the bit to tell her story. It is going to be a really, really fun adventure, and it's going to be a great time to get to her happy ending. So.
Well, I can't wait to read it. But do you, and this is the question that I think you probably get asked all the time, but do you have as much fun writing it as we have reading it?
No, absolutely not. Do other authors tell you they do have as much fun?
No, I don't think I've ever. But I thought maybe you could be the exception. They're writing dark, depressing books, though. This is a fun book.
No, it's the fact of the matter is it's hard to write a book that will make people laugh, and it is hard to write a page turner. It's not easy. And the thing that I discovered writing my first book, and every book since, is after I write it or while I'm writing it, I think, wow, it's a lot harder to write a book than it is to read a book. It's a real shock, because when you've been reading your whole life and then you think, well, I could do that. And then I go to write it and think, oh, wow, this is still a lot harder than reading it. Writing a page takes a long time compared to reading a page. So, no, it's because writers are also highly neurotic. So the whole time I'm writing, I'm thinking, this is terrible. Why am I fooling myself? No one is going to like this. And then, just like I'm some kind of crazed psycho in a James Bond movie, I fluctuate between that of, oh, I'm no good, no one's going to like this, I should throw this away, I delete the whole file, whatever, to, oh, this is genius. No one is funnier than I am. This is a work of art. So I fluctuate between the two, which is pretty exhausting, actually, to be that neurotic. But from as far as I can tell, pretty much every other writer is nuts too when they write. So I'm not alone.
Yeah, I was talking to this one, and it was a male writer. He wrote thriller books, and it was a while ago. But he said that, he'd wake up really depressed in the morning and be like, I suck. I should get a real job. This is absolutely ridiculous. He'd go out on a run, and he'd come back and tell his wife, I am the smartest person ever. Like, did you know that? Did you know you were married to the smartest person?
And I keep reminding myself, I'm not writing Pulitzer Prize books. I'm writing books that will to make people happy, that they can sit with a huge bag of peanut M&Ms and just sit back and just enjoy their that moment and to get away from it all. And so why am I stressing so much? And then a couple weeks ago, or last week was it, I took a week off, and it was the first time since 2011 that I took I didn't open the computer, nothing for a week. And while I was doing that, I was reading John Steinbeck's journal that he wrote while he was writing Grapes of Wrath, which of course won the Nobel Prize. It's one of the great American novels, etc. And here's, this American treasure, this great writer. His journal was, why am I writing this? I'm not a good enough author to write this.
Wow.
And then another one was like, well, if I write some Saturdays, that will give me backup time so that if I don't do as much in word count on other days, it'll be made up. And if I write 2,000 words a day, then it will be done in 5 months. But I'm giving myself and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's just as neurotic as all of us. So even though he's writing this, great work of art, he's still thinking just like any romance writer or mystery writer, and there really is absolutely no difference in the psychic makeup of authors. And I thought that was really, unless you're really psycho and you think you're wonderful and you have no self-doubt, it pretty much goes with all writers. It seems to be that it is a very stressful process, and for some reason I cannot stop doing it. I cannot.
Right. Well, and he didn't know he was writing that. Like, he had no idea that he was writing a book that was going to be, that's the other amazing part about reading that journal. Like, he didn't know, for him it was just another book,
Yeah, but all his books were, he didn't write one where they said, I don't care. It's okay.
Well, the last thing I want to tell you is how much you made my day, because I went on your website, to read about you. And I love in the question and answer, somebody asked you what advice you have. And you said, don't quit. Nobody got anywhere by quitting. And I just have to tell you, I love that, because every day I doubt that what I'm doing is any good. And then I'll think, you know what, I'm just going to go get a job. This is ridiculous. And then I can't stop. Like you said, I can't stop. I can't stop reading. I can't stop wanting to talk to authors. I tried for a week. I was like, you know what, let's just see what happens. And then I was like, I couldn't wait to get back to talking to authors. I was like, no, this is what I want to do. And so I felt like you were talking to me. So I was like, I have to tell her, because, you'll never know. None of us will ever know if we quit, right?
And I have two other things to add to that about not quitting. Is the other thing I say all the time is you have to move forward to move forward.
Ooh,
right?
I like that. Yeah.
So you, where you wish for something, all that you want, but you have to be actively moving forward. And if you keep moving forward, even if it's the tiny little steps, you will eventually be somewhere. You will have moved forward. So that's very important. And the other thing that I was going to say, it completely left my brain. So, but I'm sure it was really smart.
Well, you know what? I know lots of people are going on there and reading on your website, and it just, anyone who's doing anything, but especially writers, and we need to hear, I don't know how many times I've read an author say, that their book, they were going to quit. They were like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And then that's the book, and they're like, oh my God, I almost quit. Like, in anything. And I tell my children that and whatever they're doing, but I have to take my own advice. And it's, you'll never know if you quit. You just will never know.
I remember the third thing
Good.
that I was going to, is that not to let, and this is the hardest thing, is not to let the failures stop you, because the ones that fail and quit, they never get anywhere. But it seems to be an underlying thing with all of these hugely successful writers that I know, is that they're writing a book. They write a book. They're trying to get it published or whatever. They're not just waiting around and focusing on that book. They're writing the next book and the next book and the next book.
Right.
And if they get rejected, if the book doesn't sell, if they get bad reviews, it doesn't matter. They keep going. They keep going. They keep going. And it's the same thing about not quitting, moving forward, is not to let the failures and also rejection stop you, because it's a fundamental part of success, are the failures. And you get that on a daily basis when you write, because each word, you have to go back and rewrite. You have to go back and edit. And you think, well, why couldn't it have been perfect the first time? Why does there have to be a rough draft and a second draft and a third draft? Why couldn't it just be, pop out perfectly? And I think that, you can extrapolate that, expand on that, and to say that about your career and your life. Nothing is perfect the first round. I mean, you hear about people just striking it rich with the first book, but that's winning the lottery, and that's not real. You really can't look at that.
Exactly.
So it's really about, if you have some kind of fundamental talent, just a kernel of talent, that's enough. Then what you do is you couple that with hard work, and you work and you work and you work and you work and you work, and you don't stop. You will get to where you want to be. I believe that very strongly.
I do too, but I need to hear it too. Sometimes I need to hear it from you and other people, and it's like we know it, and I say it, but I need to hear it myself, and I need to wait. I always say to my kids, "Wake up, do it again. Wake up, do it again." That's what's the key to success? Wake up, do it again. Like
Absolutely.
there is no magical cure to it. So.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank you, and thank you, Elise. I can't wait to talk to you again, because I do want to talk to you again about the next one. I cannot wait to read it, and you were so much fun, and you're so much fun to talk to. So thank you.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
And I will put all of Elise's links underneath here, along with her Amazon page, so you can go buy all of her books, because she has tons of books. And if you feel like having a good laugh, read this one. So that's what I say. Anyway, have a great day. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
That was going to be fun. And I had so much fun talking to her. Isn't she awesome? I knew it. So I was right. She's the best way to end my week was to talk to her. So thank you, Elise. I am so happy that I got to meet you. We are going to talk again when the next one comes out, which I cannot wait for. So everybody, links are listed below. You can get the first two now. The third one is coming up. What did she say? The beginning of March, I think. And then I get to talk to her again. So thank you, everyone. Please hit like. If you had as much fun as I did talking to her, please hit like. Subscribe if you want to watch my videos every day. I put out a video every single day. So have a great weekend, everyone.